Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to dive into an emotional journey filled with love, family, and the shadows of the past. We'll follow Diep and Huyen as they face old grudges, protect their peace, and discover what it truly means to stand together against the storms life throws at them. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our upcoming videos. Dear friends, welcome back to the channel, where small beginnings lead to the deepest truths. After a few quiet days, when Huyen and little Maya were finally starting to breathe again, the past slips in like a shadow you thought had vanished. Somewhere else, under a thin eave, the woman who once drove Huyen from her home sits alone with a faded photograph of her son, a prisoner now, in her lap. There are no tears of regret in her eyes. Instead, there's that old, cold ember of resentment that never went out. She presses the picture to her chest and into the damp evening whispers, "Yeah, I won't leave you. When Thuc gets out, we'll take it all back." Has the storm come again? Can they keep their fragile peace? Welcome to today's episode of After the Storm, Promises and Shadows, where every choice carries a cost, and love must face the dark it survived. Afternoon was folding into evening. The sun hid behind a wall of clouds, and the air smelled of wet earth and wood smoke. In the small courtyard, Han started barking, sharp, insistent, tail high as the bamboo gate creaked open. He dropped the bundle of firewood, wiped his hands on a rag, and peered out. A tall figure filled the pathway, an old woman in a worn velvet coat, shoulders set like stone, face mapped by years of hard lines, and a stare that hadn't softened with time. It was Huyen's mother-in-law. Her sandals scuffed the damp ground. Her eyes swept across the little house with a mix of scorn and something like curiosity until they landed on D. He straightened, steady, neither stepping forward nor back. "What are you doing here?" he asked, voice low. She met his gaze, calm and hard. "I should be asking you that. What are you doing here?" For a heartbeat, silence. She tightened her lips, the voice that came next steady, controlled. "I came to see Huyen and my granddaughter. Do I need a reason to look at my own blood?" Diep let out a small, bitter smile that barely touched his eyes. Han barked again, the sound filling the gap. "You came to see them," he repeated, voice dropping. "Do you remember the last time?" Diep said. "When Huyen ran out in the rain with your daughter in her arms. Did you open your door then? Or did you stay on your porch and shout, 'Never come back'?" The words hit like cold rain. She flinched. For a second, her breath caught. She clutched her purse until her knuckles whitened. "I said those things because I was angry," she answered, small and tight. "My son gave up everything for her. I wanted her to think about what she was doing." Dee's gaze didn't soften. Instead, it sharpened, not with hatred, but with a quiet clarity. "And what did your clarity cost?" he asked. "A woman raising a child alone. A child without a grandmother who could claim her. A home broken by pride." The wind moved through the courtyard and carried the scent of smoke, making the silence colder. She dropped her eyes. "I didn't come for a lecture. I came to see the child, even if just for a moment. She's my blood." She took a step forward, blocking the gate. Dee's voice was slow, deliberate. Blood doesn't give anyone the right to walk back into a life they tried to destroy. After everything you did, you have no right to just show up. Her face trembled, but she tried to hold on to her composure. And who are you to talk to me like that? Do you think standing here changes the past? I deserve a chance. One chance to see my granddaughter. Dee breathed in, and something in his expression shifted. It wasn't softness exactly. It was resolve. You don't get to decide who deserves chances, he said. Huyen deserves a life without fear. Maya deserves to grow up in peace. I won't let anyone, not even you, take that away again. She reached for a last plea. I was her mother-in-law. I loved my son. Let me see her. Dee's answer was quiet and firm. If anyone deserves a chance, it's Huyen. And if you want to see the girl, you wait until she's ready. Today, please leave. The wind picked up, tugging at the coat around her knees. He breathed in the damp, fresh air. I will protect their peace, he thought aloud, quietly, even if I must stand against the whole world. Inside, Huyen had been listening from behind the curtain. She felt the blood thump in her chest, not from fear, but from some strange, new relief. For the first time in years, someone had decided to be her shield. The gate shut, the barking softened, and the courtyard fell into the soft hush that follows a storm. Only the rain's last drops tapped the leaves, and the water dripped from the eaves. Dee lingered at the gate, watching where the woman had gone. The sadness that touched him was not the hot sting of anger, but the quiet sorrow of a man who's watched cruelty persist long after it should have faded. The wooden door opened behind him, and Huyen stepped out, fingers still clutching her dress. Red-rimmed eyes met his. She had heard everything. I didn't want you to see it, Day said gently. But maybe it was time you knew that the past can't hurt you anymore. Huyen moved closer, letting the rain settle on her shoulders. You shouldn't have spoken so harshly to her, she whispered. After all, she was my mother-in-law once. He gave a small, weary smile. I know. There are things left unsaid that never teach anyone how much damage they caused. I don't hate her. I just won't let you bow your head again. Her voice quivered. When I heard her, I still felt afraid. That night, the gate closed in my face, Maya screaming in my arms. That memory never left. Hearing her voice brought it all back. Day stepped closer and put a hand on her shoulder. You're not alone anymore, he said softly. If the past comes knocking again, I'll be the one who answers. No one will make you cry like that again. Tears slipped from Huyen's face, but they were not the same as before. They were relief, like waking from a long nightmare. She leaned into his warmth, letting his presence steady her. Han curled up at their feet, an understanding presence of her own. The rain stopped, and beams of sunlight pierced through the cloud cover, catching on the drops and lighting Huyen's shoulders. Do you think she'll come back? Huyen asked, voice small. Maybe, Dee replied after a moment. But if she does, I'll be here with you. You won't face it alone. Huyen looked at him, and something like faith, the small, stubborn kind, returned to her eyes. She nodded, a smile breaking through the wetness on her face. In the distance, a temple bell tolled, and the world felt somehow clearer. It was an afternoon after the rain, a man promising protection, and a woman finally daring to believe she was worthy of peace and love. The sky eased into evening as the village settled. The air felt purified, as if the storm had washed away a little more than just dust. Evening settled slowly over the village, The sun sank behind the bamboo grove, leaving a pale, gentle glow across the wet yard. Crickets began their quiet hum, filling the damp air with a soft rhythm. Somewhere at the edge of the village, Thuc's mother sat under the eaves, outwardly still, but her expression twisted with inner torment. On the old wooden table in front of her lay a yellowed photograph, her son in a prisoner's uniform. Her gaze was hard, shadowed with a bitterness that years hadn't softened. The oil lamp flickered, casting long, quivering shadows on her face, illuminating every crease, every scar left by her long-held grudge. With a trembling hand, she touched the photograph. Her voice, rough and hoarse, cracked through the silence. "Thuc, don't worry. I won't leave things like this." Her eyes darkened, burning with a cold fire. A bitter smile tugged at her lips, one born from years of rage. "They put you in jail, called you an abuser, a monster, all because of that woman, Huyen. And then D. That cursed D. He dared to protect her, to defy my family." Her fingers clenched the table until her knuckles ached. Outside, the wind whipped across the yard, rattling the lamp. Her shadow stretched across the wall, jagged and twisted, like some dark echo of herself screaming from within. She hissed through gritted teeth, voice low and venomous. "Yeah, do you think you can protect her? Do you think you can hold everything that belonged to my son and live in peace?" A sharp, bitter laugh tore from her chest. Harsh, relentless, terrifying. "No. When Thuc gets out, he'll take everything back. The house, his son, everything you've tried to guard. This false peace you've built, it's going to crumble, and I'll make sure of it." Her gaze cut to the empty courtyard below. Night had swallowed almost all light, leaving only the glint of her eyes. A strange mixture of love twisted into resentment. "I promise you, Thuc," she whispered, every syllable heavy as stone. "I'll make them pay. And he will never have peace again. And I'll take everything back, even the woman who betrayed you." The wind moaned through the cracks, and the lamp flickered once more before plunging the room into darkness. Only her harsh, hoarse laughter lingered, merging with the buzzing of insects, a sinister echo of the storm that was coming. Back in the small courtyard, Dee stood with Huyen beside him, watching the sky slowly lighten. The rain had passed, leaving the world washed clean, but the tension in the air hinted that the calm might be fleeting. Huyen's hands were still trembling slightly as she held onto Dee's arm. "Do you think she'll really come back?" she asked, voice quiet, tinged with both fear and hope. Dee looked around at the little house, the palm trees glistening with rain, and the soft dirt of the courtyard. "Maybe," he said, "but if she does, we'll face it together. You won't be alone." Huyen nodded slowly, letting a small smile break through. For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of security, a belief that peace could exist, even in a world that had brought her so much pain. Behind them, Han curled up, finally settling, as if sensing the calm that had returned. If only for the moment, they moved inside, leaving the courtyard quiet. The soft dripping of rain from the eaves and the occasional rustle of leaves were the only sounds. In that quiet, Dee finally exhaled fully, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. He didn't feel victorious, only vigilant, aware that peace was fragile and must be protected with every ounce of strength. Inside, Huyen finally allowed herself to breathe. She sank onto the old wooden chair by the window, her wet hair sticking to her face. "I never thought..." I could feel this, she murmured, looking out at the sky clearing above the village. Like maybe the past doesn't have to haunt us forever. Dee knelt beside her, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. It won't, he said softly. I'll make sure of that. Whatever comes, whatever storms appear, we face them together. No one will take away what we've rebuilt here. Our home, our family, our peace. Outside, the wind picked up once more, moving through the palm fronds and brushing past the windows. Huyen closed her eyes, leaning into Dee's presence, letting it anchor her. The memories of rain-soaked nights and shouted threats seemed distant, less sharp. She realized that while the past might still knock, it no longer had the power to define her. Far off, Thuc's mother sat alone with her fading photograph, plotting, scheming, fueled by anger and the promise of revenge. But no matter how strong her desire, she had no way of piercing the fortress Dieu had built around Huyen and Maya. A fortress of patience, care, and unwavering protection. The storm would come, yes, but Dee's resolve would stand like an unmovable wall between the darkness and the fragile happiness of his family. The evening deepened, casting long shadows across the village. Insects sang their night song. Dew glistened on the leaves, reflecting the last hints of daylight. Inside the small home, Huyen leaned against Day, letting the sense of safety settle into her bones. The warmth of the house, the presence of the man who promised protection, and the soft nuzzle of Han at their feet formed a simple, perfect sanctuary. As the night wore on, the temple bell tolled somewhere in the distance, marking the passage of time. Everything felt lighter, more settled. The village, the house, even the storm-tossed emotions of the past seemed momentarily suspended. Huyen allowed herself a small smile, feeling a faith she thought lost years ago start to bloom again. Dee looked out the window, eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of trouble, but also for signs of hope. The first stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. We'll face whatever comes, he said quietly to Huyen. But right now, let's just be here, together. Huyen rested her head against him, letting her thoughts drift for the first time without fear. The rain had stopped, the sun had set, and yet, in the quiet, there was the sense of something enduring. A promise, a shadow of peace, fragile yet unbroken. And somewhere, at the edge of the village, Thuc's mother clenched the photograph tightly. She whispered promises into the night, a vow to reclaim what she had lost. But for now, in the small house under the clearing sky, the daughter and granddaughter slept, the courtyard silent, and Dieu kept watch, a quiet guardian against the dark that might come. The night stretched on, filled with the soft sounds of a world settling. Huyen finally allowed herself to relax, feeling the warmth of protection and the certainty that, no matter what storms arrived, she would not face them alone. In the distance, the wind whispered through the palms, the insects buzzed, and the faint temple bell tolled again, a gentle reminder that life moves on, that peace is fought for, and that even after the fiercest storms, hope can take root. For Day and Huyen, this was the beginning of that hope, a promise that no shadow of the past, no whisper of resentment could undo what they had worked so hard to protect. And though the night was long and full of unknowns, the bond between them, the quiet strength of love and protection, would stand like a lighthouse in the dark, guiding them toward the calm they so deserved. After days of fragile peace, Dee and little Maya finally start to feel safe, only for the past to creep back in. Thuc's mother, fueled by years of resentment, vows revenge, promising to reclaim everything once her son is released. Meanwhile, Huyen and Dee must face this looming threat while protecting Maya and preserving the home they fought so hard to rebuild. Emotions run high as old grudges confront new hopes, and every decision carries a heavy price. Dee's determination to shield his family brings comfort to Huyen.